another episode of Raw Conversations, where we will be having meaningful conversations with people in the health and wellness space. I'm your host, Sharon, founder, CEO of Food Nerd, and today's guest is Jamie from Lily Vegan. Yay, Jamie! Welcome.
Hi, long time no see.
I know.
All right.
Awesome. So today, Jamie, if you want to tell them a little bit about yourself before we get into today's topic.
Oh goodness. What to say about me? I guess I work at Food Nerd. I manage our digital media, so I actually manage like the Instagram. It's kind of weird. And I don't know what else is my identity. I'm vegan. We'll be talking about that. It matters. I live in Buffalo. I enjoy psychology and public health and nutrition and all things Food Nerd. And yeah, I'm just super excited to be here.
Yay! Awesome. So today we're going to be talking about veganism and Thanksgiving and how that overlaps and all the interesting things that that come about during holiday times and being a plant-based eater. And you know, kind of some of the good things and the difficult things about being vegan. We're just kind of talk it, get really real and really raw and talk about it all. So I'm super excited. Awesome. Jamie, do you want to go ahead and get things started?
Get things started? Yeah. Sure. I mean, let me see here really quick. Yeah, okay, so I guess my vegan story. And then I want to hear yours, share, because we always start this off. Yeah. I'll try to make it like really fast, like the editor's note version. I went vegetarian in high school when I was 18. I actually like slowly just started cutting meat out until I was just eating like chicken and ham and those kinds of things. But then I don't know really why I stopped. I think it was more so just like a challenge, like a health kind of thing. And I didn't really like red meat that much. So I just figured, why not? I knew some of the stuff that kind of went on, but nothing really nothing really intense. And so then when I was in college, my sophomore year, my roommate was like, oh, my friend says we should watch this documentary called Earthlings. And I was like, I'm already vegetarian. I don't contribute to any of that. Like, sure, I'll watch it with you because I wanted her to go vegetarian. And then we watched it and I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, oh no, like dairy and all this other stuff that I never even really thought about. And so then I knocked out dairy, and then a couple of days later I knocked out eggs. And my roommate that we watched it with me, she and I are still vegan to this day, so it's kind of cool. And it evolved from kind of from health to like really ethical veganism, and then I started getting into the health aspect of veganism, studying a lot of the nutrition, and getting into a lot of those research papers that you and I like to nerd out on. But still obvious, and then the environment as well. So all three, primarily ethics, health, environment, in that order.
Awesome. And now here you are. So it's been a while. It's been a while for you. It's been years.
Yeah, I haven't had meat in almost 8 years.
Wow.
And then, vegan for almost six this March.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I think my vegan story, if anybody doesn't know it, I don't know, I probably talk about it all the time, but really my vegan journey kind of began when I was around like 13 or 14. I had, a mother that suffered with chronic disease, multiple sclerosis, and, lots of other chronic disease in the family. So, and ironically, my mother's younger sister, they're only about a year apart, and they look like they were a decade or two in difference in age. And one of the biggest things I noticed being 14 was, what my aunt ate was very different than what my mother ate. My mother was, kind of ate standard American diet. We ate whatever we wanted. Very heavy dairy, I would say, based diet, super heavy dairy. And then, my aunt really pretty much ate just all organic. She was predominantly plant-based, and she never ate red meat. So the meat that she did consume, it wasn't very often, and it was really, more white meat. So I kind of just got really interested, and then kind of like you did, where I started off and just slowly cut out red meat, and then I cut out pork, and then I cut out chicken, and then I was pescatarian for like 3 years, and then I went vegetarian, and then I made the transition to being completely vegan. And it was really, like you said, it took me like 12 years for my whole journey,
Yeah, the
but
slope.
it was, yeah, but it was really, back then there really wasn't as much education readily available as there is now. So it was like me digging into my own research and kind of looking what was out there. But yeah, it was kind of just an evolutionary process. But the more you research, the more I researched into it, the more I felt like I knew I was doing the best thing that for my life and for my health. So it just stuck, and you never go back once you feel how good it feels to kind of put such clean stuff into your system. So
right.
Yeah. So vegan stories. I love hearing everybody's.
Right.
But yours was a long transition too, which resonates a
Oh
lot.
yeah.
So
It was definitely like I started kind of just slowly taking out meat, and then it was the last little bit. And then it was like a challenge. Like I was like, for 30 days, I'm going to just go without it. And then it just stuck.
Right.
Yeah.
Yay. Alrighty. So what are we digging into?
I want to talk about our first vegan Thanksgiving versus now. So kind of when you first went vegan, or even, I mean, vegetarian too, you could talk a little bit about that, because big thing with Thanksgiving is the little bird, the turkey, or the big bird, I guess,
Bird.
of the turkey. And that can be a switch, even if you're just switching to meat. And then even more so when you go vegan, and some of those side dishes kind of need to be altered, just a little bit. So yeah, if you want to talk about your first one versus kind of the most recent one, and has anything changed, the better, the worse?
Yeah. So it's funny. Thanksgiving is like pops out at me like as a super memorable experience the first year I went plant-based, because I remember I wasn't living at home. So I came home for the holidays. At the time I was living on Long Island. I came back, and I pretty much everybody was in line filling up their plates, and I didn't really announce it until I was in line and everybody was filling their plates, and I skipped mostly everything. Like I really I didn't get the turkey. I really had a lot of stuffing and mashed potatoes, and they were things that I had made with vegan options. And I brought my own little vegan gravy, and I remember like my brother was like
You
literally
bringing
making.
things.
Yeah, I know. My brother literally was like, "What are you doing? Like, eat some turkey." And I remember I was like, "No, like I don't want to." And he was like, "What do you mean? Like, it's Thanksgiving. Like Thanksgiving equals turkey. I don't understand why you're not eating turkey." And I was like, "No, it doesn't. Like, I'm enjoying. Like, you guys. To me, like, it's not so much about the food as it is being home with you guys.
With family.
With family. So I remember sitting at the table, and like, it was a really big thing. Everybody was like, what are you doing? Like, and I just was like, no, I haven't eaten meat actually in a while. And I just didn't really tell anybody at the time, because I was just kind of in it myself. So that was the first time, was at Thanksgiving, my first year, when everybody kind of like started making me feel like I was kind of very different than everybody else was at Thanksgiving table. So yeah, so that hit hard. And then, yeah, I would say, I'm the youngest of six. So my older brothers definitely gave me the biggest, backlash about it. But, when I felt really confident in my decision, and I knew I was doing it for my health. So I kind of let it slide off, let the, the non-vegan, the anti-vegan jokes slide off at the Thanksgiving table. And then, I would say until now, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years later, now I'm hosting Thanksgiving, and now all of the Thanksgiving dishes are plant-based. And honestly, like, no one can really tell unless I say it, right? Like, so the main dishes, you can just swap out vegan butter for dairy butter. Like you're able to make those swaps, and most people don't notice.
Right. The side dishes are so easy to be vegan. Like, it's just
so
tiny
easy.
little switches.
Right. And it's crazy because, it's Thanksgiving, so you want to make up the traditional dishes that we kind of grew up eating. And, marshmallow sweet potato
That's my
casserole.
favorite dish.
I think it tastes better vegan
It
because
is.
you get it just tastes sweeter. There's vegan marshmallows,
Mm.
the cinnamon, the vegan butter, a little bit of maple
Oh, it's
syrup.
so good.
And most people don't realize that everything can be, besides the turkey, everything else can be
Right.
made plant-based. So I host Thanksgiving as a vegan. I make everything plant-based, and then I tell anybody if they want to bring anything, bring whatever you want. And if
Right.
it's not vegan, bring it. Bring what you want. But I
Right.
supply all the main dishes, and they're plant-based. So,
Yeah, I
and
love that.
right. So what about you? What was your first Thanksgiving as a vegan?
Oh God, as a vegan, I mean, my parents had already gotten used to the whole like no meat thing when I was vegetarian. Originally, they were kind of like, "Can't you just like eat some?"
Right.
It's Thanksgiving. They didn't really understand it really, but they respected it. I had a pretty my immediate family is pretty um, respecting me. Oh my God, I can't speak. It's too late.
Respectful.
Respectful. Wow, thank you. Pretty
Got you.
respectful of me. And then when I went vegan, I remember like asking my mom, can like you just make the mashed potatoes vegan? Just use vegan butter. It's like the easiest thing to it tastes the same. Can you just do that? And she's like, no, like I'll just make a side thing with you. Like it was a big thing. Um, but then over the years, they got used to it. They understood kind of the swaps. And now my parents are actually primarily plant-based. They identify as vegan, which is kind of cool. So, yeah, sorry, I just got a message from Kyle. um,
Hey, Kyle.
one of our marketing people. So yeah, it was kind of cool. Over the years, it kind of switched a little bit, and now they're primarily plant-based, and it's no problem. I mean, there's still turkey at Thanksgiving because we have other people who are there, and my mom is fine
Hmm.
preparing it. Um, but yeah, there's other stuff for me, and yeah, it's been pretty nice actually. I feel really
Hmm.
lucky to go through like that Thanksgiving experience that I did because I know that some people, like you said, it's that kind of whole thing. Like, what are you doing? You know?
Right, right. Yeah, and some of the things that I think, now that I'm hosting it, I kind of debate. I'm like, should I label things as vegan or just not tell, not, and then the people who are vegan will know what dishes
Right.
are and are not. Because like it's one of the biggest things that is difficult is the how emotional food is for people. And as you become
Mm,
vegan, you start to like you first of all you have to like look at yourself in the mirror and you have those realizations like like your emotional comfort food you're automatic you can't grab for it anymore because most likely it was like something that wasn't plant-based.
right.
I wish my emotional food was broccoli and carrots, but my emotional food has always been a grilled cheese, right? Like grilled cheese sandwich is my emotional comfort food,
Mm,
with tomato soup, like dipping it,
mm-hmm.
that's my thing. And so Thanksgiving is also like such a big emotional time. So when people think like, I go plant-based and it's limiting, it's actually
Mm,
the opposite. Like I had to kind of realize that most most dishes, yeah, obviously it can be made plant-based, and they still hit that emotional, satisfaction that you're going for.
yeah.
And it kind of also made me face some of my emotional eating patterns. Like it put them right in my face where that was kind of one of the best things that I'm so grateful for going vegan because I think it made me realize, what I was eating for health and when I was not eating for health and understanding why I was doing that. So,
Right.
so holidays in general are just emotional eating all around. Like everybody is emotionally eating
For
during the
sure.
holiday. It's like this cultural like acceptance. Like it's a holidays, eat all the cookies you want, have all the
Right.
eggnog. Like it's like just a
It's the
societal
time.
acceptance. It's the
Yeah.
time. And as you go through your own health journey, that's your decision to make. Am I gonna eat? I like to eat predominantly, at least a high percentage raw plant-based diet. But on Thanksgiving, I'm probably not going to eat anything raw. I'm probably going to eat, the vegan Thanksgiving meal that I make, and that's my emotional food, and
Right.
it's within my new standards and boundaries for myself. And so
Right.
I think it's important that we kind of go over the emotional, aspects of holiday eating.
Right. You shouldn't feel
And
like scared of food,
mhm,
right? Like I feel
right,
like people get so scared of food and stuff, food becomes dangerous and it becomes attractive because it's dangerous and,
Right.
that kind of thing. But it shouldn't be made, like choices that we make about food shouldn't be made out of fear. It should be freeing to be able to say, I want this food, so I'm gonna eat it. Like, right? Because of the emotional thing it has for me, and it's the holidays, and that's okay.
Right. Right. And I think it's more of like understanding what, setting just boundaries for yourself, right? Like,
Yeah.
am I going to eat the entire month of December and blame it on and blame it on holiday eating?
Right.
Or am I going to say, on Christmas or on Thanksgiving, I'm going to eat, I'm going to let myself eat whatever I want. And then, I'm going to just loosen up the grip on myself, but also know that I still want to get the nutrients in, right? Like, so I don't want to completely feel like garbage, and I don't want to just stuff my face with processed foods. Like, I want to make sure, if I'm going to a holiday party or I'm doing a Friendsgiving the week before, like, I'm going to have a really great green smoothie for breakfast. And then, like, it's
Yeah, I get all my macros in. It's more, I think when you
Right.
look at food more as like less of macros and calories and more on micros, it switches your perception of food. Like being able to say, I don't, it has nothing to do about the calories of this food or any of that stuff. I just want to make sure that earlier in the day I get my macros if I know I'm going to be eating stuff that's like super nutritionally depleted. It has nothing to do with my value as a person, right? And if there is a day where you eat completely crappy and you don't get any macros, like your body's resilient, you'll be fine.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of like my kind of feel, I guess.
Right. I'm just going to make sure the day before Thanksgiving, I take an extra shot of wheatgrass so I can just get my body all
get it ready,
prepped.
prep it up.
Exactly. Get it ready for all the processed food that it's about to consume.
Yeah.
But that's huge. I think as a plant-based person, when you tell somebody you're plant-based, I think that's the first thing you hear is, oh, I could never be plant-based because because I can't cut out this food.
Yeah.
And it's thank God it's 2020 and now we have some incredible companies that make plant-based eating so much more accessible
Seriously.
and delicious. So we can really have, the best of kind of both worlds. We can enjoy all the same holiday things and still, feel like everybody else, feel like we're consuming the same foods. And, there's a lot of great companies that have like even turkey alternatives, right? And honestly, I think they taste even better because they have delicious spices in them and they're made with so much more, flavor added to them. So there's a bunch that people can eat. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was like, one of the things that I didn't think about it until after I went plant-based, but the concept of like eating turkey for Thanksgiving, where, like my family like said to me in the beginning, like Thanksgiving equals turkey. And sometimes it's like nice to step back and separate the food from the holiday and realize like food is just like a cherry on top. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be about the food. It should be about the people, your friends, your family, the people that you're spending it with. And the food is just a little bit on top. And, if you get so emotionally like upset if the thought of not having turkey on Thanksgiving, I think that's a good time to kind of have that reflection and say, why do I feel like I can't celebrate Thanksgiving unless that turkey's on my table? Like, what does that mean to you, and why is that so viscerally emotional, for you?
I also love it when you said something before about the people around you. It reminds me of, I think it was somewhere in the Blue Zones, but it's somewhere where when they get together as a family to eat the food and then they have the food and stuff, and the next day they're talking to their friends, the friends don't ask, what did you have for dinner last night? They ask, who'd you have dinner with? Like, it's more so about like your company and the people that you're with and that entire experience rather than the food. Like, food is great. I love it. Don't get me wrong. It totally, like, I'm happy to have a lot of really yummy food and not to be eating like dirt, right? But it really is about that family. It's everything. It's cumulative.
Right.
Love it.
And, one of the other things that, it's kind of ironic. So where we are in upstate New York, every year there's like this turkey, and literally the week of Thanksgiving, he's on the news every year for the last like 4 years. He like runs into like there's a road here called Transit Road, and it's a very busy road, and he literally is seen every like week of Thanksgiving just running down the center of this main road, and he always makes the news, and every person
I didn't
pulls
know
over.
about this.
Yes, oh my God, he's like famous here in Buffalo. Everybody sees him, and it happened to me. I literally drove and saw him, pulled my car over, and was trying to get him off the road because
Wait, is this an organized event, or is this just a random turkey that is just
every year the same turkey runs down Transit Road, and he makes the news. It's literally the week of Thanksgiving. It's almost like he's trying to warn all the other turkeys, like, no.
I'm gonna need to fact check this, okay?
Yes, Google Buffalo turkey, on Transit Road. It will pop up. So basically, what I thought was really interesting. So when I was driving by, I was like, oh my God, this turkey's gonna get hit by the car. So I pulled over and I literally shooed him to the side of the road. Like, I literally shooed him to the side of the road, and then he ran right back out on the road. And then every other car I noticed was doing the same thing, because nobody wanted the turkey to get ran over.
I get where you're going with this.
Right? I just want to go there. Nobody wanted to see the turkey get hit by a car. And, I kind of like, as I was driving away, like looking in my rear mirror, watching people like literally get out of their cars on a busy highway to try to save the turkey.
Right.
Kind of like it hit me in a way where I was just like, I don't think we think about, we see a live animal and we see the animal living, and it hits us different than the shrink wrapped turkey that's in the frozen aisle at the grocery store.
Right.
Like, we don't associate.
It's so separated.
It's so separated.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if if people would feel the same way about the turkeys if
they
feathers and the head was all there, and you saw it for what it was. I think we would feel very differently about it. At least a good portion of us would.
Yeah.
And some of the things about turkey is that it's almost like 220 million turkeys that week of Thanksgiving.
I feel like it's more.
It could be more. But the most recent, it's probably like. Actually, it's probably like 250 million. I'm probably off by.
No, it's wrong. 45 to 46 million turkeys are killed each year for Thanksgiving.
But annually, it's 250 turkeys.
46 million turkeys for like one day.
For one day.
I don't know if you've never. Right. I've never been, so like when I went vegan, it's much easier to be vegans for like cows and like little pigs because they're so cute, and like lambs and stuff. But I went to Farm Sanctuary and met a lot of animals that are rescued from those kinds of situations, and I got to meet like a turkey, and this turkey loved being pet. It would go up to you, put its wings up. It wants you to put your hands underneath its wings and like pet it under there, and its eyes were like closing like this, like it was like petting a dog.
Like a cat.
And I've never, dog person, cat person. I've never felt that way towards like poultry. I don't know, because it's so kind of separated. And I'm already vegan, but like to have that kind of moment was just crazy. Like facing your food. Even if it's not my food, but people need to face their food,
Right. And that's the other thing is like, I think that, because we just automatically associate Thanksgiving being, a turkey on the table. I think that, one of the big things is really like, if people are going to eat turkey, is really having appreciation and gratitude. What went into getting that turkey on the table? People had to slaughter that turkey had to be raised. The environment had to be impacted. And not only that, turkey is one of the most genetically modified plant or animals on the planet. So what we've done to turkeys to get them nice and beautiful to fit perfectly on our on our Thanksgiving
as huge
platter,
as they are,
as big as they are, we've had to do so much genetic manipulation to them. And so it really is, I think, just for me, when when I think of Thanksgiving, I no longer think of turkey. Like that's
Mhm.
when you ask people, what do you think of? The first thing is turkey, stuffing, gravy. And like for me now, like my poor family, I make, we all sit at the dinner table and we all write what we're grateful for on cards. I mean, I really try to like focus more of like, okay, Thanksgiving is about gratitude. It's about giving
Right.
thanks for the things in your life, um, and making it a little bit less about the food and more about the people, and having those conversations, like getting uncomfortable, because not every family is very emotionally open, and not every
Right.
family wants to talk about, like who looks to the person to the left and was like, I'm really grateful for you, and one time you did something and it made me feel really loved, and I'm so grateful for that moment.
I
And
love
I
that.
think that it's when I remember like 4 years ago when I first did the gratitude cards with my family.
Are those like a
Everybody,
thing?
yeah, I made it a thing, and I know a lot of people do, but every year I give. Well, at first it was index cards, like my study index cards from
Yeah.
from school, and I had everybody write down the top 3 things that they were grateful for, and it was anonymous, and then we were all gonna pick them out of the basket, and everybody was gonna read one and guess whose it was. That was like my
Oh,
game.
I like that.
Yeah, and then everybody was kind of like, "Well, this is weird. Like, what am I gonna write?" And now we do it every year, and I save them, and you know me, I'm so nerdy. I put them in a little book. Um,
That's so cute.
but now, like, I think it's become part of like understanding, like, wow, Thanksgiving is about each other and about so many other things, and sometimes we get caught up in, and so that's why, yeah, that's really what I like to think of more. And even though there probably will be a turkey at the Thanksgiving that I'm hosting because somebody is bringing it,
Right.
I even give thanks, to just the fact that that we are so blessed to be able to have all the food. And I try to not, I emotionally get sad about the turkeys because I'm so empathetic, and have been vegan for so long. But I
Yeah, and
also
I
know that it's a journey for
oh,
everybody, so.
yeah. Yeah, and I think like going off of that, that can be really hard for some people. I think especially when you first go plant-based, once you kind of see what's going on, it's like seeing like a dog on the table. I feel like
Yeah.
that's the best way to explain it to people because there's that dissonance there. If there's ever somebody in your life who has gone vegan or vegetarian for ethical reasons, some people go for environmental, there's other reasons, but for ethical reasons,
Hmm.
if they've done that, that can be really difficult for them, especially the first time around. Imagine if it was you and you figured out you're just looking at it now and it's like your dead dog, but your dead dog's been like plucked of all of his hair, like or shaved of all of his hair, and I
Right.
mean, yeah. So I feel like it's that kind of for those of you who are listening who do eat meat or aren't vegan or vegetarian, but you do know somebody that is, just really kind of think of that person in that time and put yourselves in that shoes. Think of it that way. Um,
Hmm.
and just try to be there for them. Like it's really difficult when you're living in a world that doesn't see kind of the way that
Where
we see,
way you
because
see
we're
it.
brought up in
Hmm.
a way that it's normalized.
Right.
Um, and so it's, I mean, it's not, yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah. No, it is. It's definitely, it could be, a very emotional time for most people.
Hmm.
I mean, I know for me, like, if I focus too much, on the food, because it is just so food centered, everybody's,
Right.
and, um,
It's the food
it
holiday. It is the food
it's
holiday.
the food holiday, absolutely.
Hmm.
But some of the, I wanted to like kind of highlight some of the companies that go out of their way to like make the
Mm.
mock vegan turkeys,
Hmm.
that are so delicious, and that anybody
Oh
that would
yeah.
take a bite would be like, oh wow,
It's pretty good.
this is pretty
It's more
bomb.
than
Like,
just tofurkey now, which although
it
tofurkey
is.
has gotten pretty good, but like way more than just like a little block of tofu.
There's literally like whole fake turkeys that look identical to a turkey. Like you can't
Yeah.
tell. It has like the skin, it has the shape. It literally like it's literally called fake whole turkey, and it's all So it's like hitting that that vegan. But any of the field roast,
I was gonna say the Gardein one is pretty
the
good.
Gardein, that's one I usually
The
do. There's
celebration roast, the field
Yes,
roast.
that's
Oh my gosh, field roast.
and it's stuffed with
Thank you.
really delicious stuffing in the
Mm.
inside. it literally it's bomb. That's the one I do. I do the field one too. But then there's tofurkey,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a few other really cool like smaller boutique brands that make it really easy for you to order things online and to get
Yeah.
like a whole vegan Thanksgiving plate shipped to your
Yeah.
house. So
Yeah,
there's
there's
so many.
restaurants. There's
There
if
are.
you're lucky enough to live near in a city near a vegan restaurant, a lot of them do try doing that. Like I know
Mhm.
I'm sure Big Mood might do something this year. I know they do stuff for like the Super Bowl. But Redfern in Rochester, New York, they always make vegan plates and oh, the Redfern.
Right.
So good.
Right. And it's so cool because there's a bunch of other boutique places and chefs on like Etsy and things like that that will literally like make organic, fake
Right.
vegan turkeys, which is so crazy. So it kind of shows you where things are going,
Yeah.
towards the future, that there's going to be a lot more options for people. And
Speaking of, what
now
is
I'm
your
like getting
favorite?
hungry.
What's your favorite? Um, ooh, I'm just getting really hungry actually. What's your favorite Thanksgiving meal?
Mm. I would say I'm one of those Thanksgiving people that like I know, and some people are really against this. I like to take my main things and mix it all together. So
Oh my,
I take
ew!
like
What are you
yeah,
doing?
I know I'm a savage, right? So what I'll do is I'll take my mashed potatoes, I make that my base, and then I do my stuffing, and then I do my corn. Don't judge me.
Wait, it's kind of like a Thanksgiving garbage plate.
It is. It's like a thing. I do a Thanksgiving garbage
Rochester,
plate.
right. If you don't know, Rochester is famous for our garbage plate, which is just a bunch of stuff all put together,
Hard
like
food,
mac
right?
salad and meat sauce and stuff like that. But keep going. Thanksgiving garbage
Yeah,
plate.
that's my. So I literally I'm not too crazy. I do the mashed potatoes, the corn, the stuffing, and then I do the vegan gravy,
Mm.
and then I do a little bit of cranberry on top, and then I just
Oh.
go at that. But I
Canned or
never.
homemade?
Oh, homemade,
Homemade.
homemade all day. Yeah,
Good. Yeah,
homemade.
same, same,
Um,
same.
I do my grandma does. We used to do before. She does fresh cranberry and orange peels
Yes,
blended. Yeah, that's my favorite.
that's like a
So I do that on
thing.
top. It's a thing. It's so good. And then my favorite, the sweet potato casserole, I never mix that in. I keep
Mm.
the sweet potato casserole on the side, and
Separate.
then
That's
I
like
do,
dessert.
that's like dessert. And then I do the vegan gardenia celebration roast. That's my vegan
Hmm.
turkey. And then I'm as happy as a clam. That's
So
my
good.
Thanksgiving dinner. Yep. What do you guys do?
Right?
What do you make for you?
Oh God. My mom's really good Thanksgiving. My mom used to be like a chef. She's pretty cool. But she mashed potatoes are always a big one at our house. They're really good. So
Do you do
mashed
garlic?
potatoes,
Garlic mashed potatoes or
no, no,
regular?
no, no. We keep it simple. We keep it
Okay.
simple.
Okay.
Just lots of butter, vegan butter
Lots of
now.
vegan butter. Right.
Um, and definitely the sweet potato casserole. That's always been my favorite since I was a kid. I like I'm getting really hungry thinking about it, and I'm really excited to eat it.
I
So
know.
sweet potato casserole. Um, yeah, definitely one of the vegan meats. It is just part of it, right? Like it's
Right.
turkey. Um, and then pie. Oh, bread. My mom makes really
Oh,
good bread, and then pie. So
what kind of pie?
usually it
Pumpkin?
depends. Yeah, there's pumpkin pie sometimes, apple pie. My favorite pie is lemon meringue pie, but
Ah,
that's not really served at Thanksgiving often. So it's probably the apple or the pumpkin. But then my
right.
favorite thing is the leftovers the next morning. So the next
Yeah.
morning, literally, my mom, when we were growing up, she was like, "Pie for breakfast. It's fine. It's fruit."
There's
So,
some grains in there. Right.
you're right.
Um, so, okay, so one of the things I want to talk about that's super related to holiday and Thanksgiving, particularly eating, is definitely like more of the guilty emotion sides of
Mm,
eating. I know, like, actually, one of the things I did last year um, is, just it was a personal decision, is that I actually wanted to go, like, I kind of ate insanely clean all the way up until Thanksgiving. And then, like, Thanksgiving the day after was like my, emotional time where I got to eat a lot. And then I really kind of dove back in, and then on the whole week of Christmas, I ate really bad. And bad as in, plant-based,
right.
whole food plant-based. But for me, like, not feeling like I am such a health nut on the holidays. So like, if I'm going somewhere, I don't want to, feel like I can't enjoy like everybody else, and I feel kind of guilty or whatnot because I want to eat something. I don't want to have those moments. So I just make vegan cookies, vegan everything, and just bring them with me. So I'm always trying to like be prepared because I don't want to be in that situation where I'm like, obviously I wouldn't eat it because I'm vegan, but I also don't want to have that like moment of like, oh my God, like, no, I can't eat it, where I want to be able to let myself have 3 or 4
Right.
cookies every hour if I
Yeah.
want,
Yeah, every hour, seriously.
on Christmas or Thanksgiving. But yeah, I guess if you want to kind of talk about what's your experience with like food guilt and trying to have like a better relationship with food.
Right.
Because we talked about a little bit earlier how emotional it is, but yeah, I think. Oh, and then Kyle just said, "Let's talk about the best vegan
Oh,
desserts for
Kyle asked a
Thanksgiving."
question.
I
Yes.
know.
Okay. We'll ask that. We'll get to that right after we talk about guilt.
Yeah, talk about food guilt. Mm-hmm.
So I guess, yeah, I used to have an eating disorder, so food was definitely difficult for me. And a lot of people think if you've had an eating disorder, then you can't go vegan.
Right.
And I think that's a rocky situation. If you're doing it solely for health reasons, and that might be difficult kind of around,
Mm-hmm.
but if it's ethics, it's definitely doable. Obviously with help from your support. But I guess with guilt, I I just try to live my life like I really love the 80/20 rule.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, it's not even a rule. Like it's not like I'm strictly looking at all my food and weighing everything and
Right.
doing that stuff. It's more so just like, how am I eating overall? Overall, am I eating mostly plants, not a lot of refined foods, a lot, like, I mean, I guess I only eat plants because I'm plant-based, but you know what I mean? Like not a lot
Right.
of refined food, mostly whole food, plant-based. I'm fine. Like if it's the holidays and there's a ton of, sweet potato casserole that I want to, sweet potato casserole, sweet potato stuffed marshmallows that I want to eat, like I'm going to do it. It's
Right.
Thanksgiving and I know you shouldn't feel guilty about that. I think we put way too much pressure on the holidays
Mm-hmm.
because like you said, it's so emotionally charged and because it is all about the food. But I feel like it really is something we need to pay attention to our lifestyle in
Mm-hmm.
general more so. So like in your day to day, after the holidays, how are you
Right.
eating? Like it's not about yo-yoing and seeing how many calories you eat. It's just what's the quality of your food? What's the quality of your diet?
Right.
Diet speaking in the terms of just kind of the food that you eat. Um,
Right.
what is that like? And then if you're good with that and you make peace with that and you can do that, then the holidays become so much less stressful because you're able to. I mean, I will say, if you eat a lot of bad food on the holidays, you will probably feel bad. Just like if you drink a lot of alcohol, you'll probably feel bad, But like,
Right.
it's not going to say like stop drinking alcohol, It's just figuring out, don't be getting drunk every single night, every day,
Right.
in that kind of
Moderation.
analogy. Right.
Right.
It's moderation and yeah, I mean, I'm obviously plant-based the entire time,
Right.
for like my ethics and everything, but the health stuff, it's fine. That's kind of how I look
Right.
at it.
Right. Yeah, no. So Kyle asked a question about like really yummy Thanksgiving desserts that are vegan.
Mm.
And so we always do, for us, we always do a pumpkin and an apple pie. And then we usually always do like a chocolate, I guess they're called like chocolate dirt pies or mud pies, where it's
Oh
like
yeah.
the vegan chocolate, Oreos are obviously vegan, so
Right.
that's usually crumbled in there, and then we do like the vegan chocolate pudding.
Mm.
And I always, me, I throw in some chia seeds in there just to get some more
Just for
nutrients
the
in,
fiber.
just for the
Some
fiber,
omegas.
and then I disguise it with the Oreos, so my nieces and nephews don't know that
Yeah.
there's loaded
The
chia and
crunch.
flax in there. But that's a good point. Like, you can pretty much swap out any vegan dessert recipe.
Right.
And one of the ways that like always makes me feel better about what I'm making for desserts, because you're gonna have the sugar, you're gonna have the vegan butter in there, is using in the crust or in like the egg or dairy substitute, using flax and chia seed, because it like
Yep.
you're just boosting it a little bit with some of those really good
Get some
healthy
boosts.
omegas. Yeah,
Or
so I would
even, I
say,
mean, if you're doing like a cream kind of based thing, this is going to sound gross if you're first hearing it, because I thought it sounded gross, but then I actually tried it. But tofu, like
yeah,
silken tofu, is a game changer.
delicious.
Like I made this pumpkin cheesecake with it before, and I have non-vegan friends who are like, "Oh my God, that's so good." They had no idea that it was made with tofu, and then you tell them, and they're like, "Dang, wow, that's
Right.
crazy." So
Like
it's
hot beans.
right. Ha, beans.
Beans. And that's another thing is tofu is a good one, but also people don't realize this, but white beans. White
Yeah.
beans can be even canned white beans if if you don't want to sprout them and then soak them and cook them yourself. But white beans blended up in a Vitamix or any type of pure
Mm-hmm.
any type of blender makes this really creamy,
Mm.
delicious thing. And if you add some sugar in there, bam, vanilla pudding. Like there's
Huh.
literally
I've
like
never
you can
thought
do
of that.
Oh yeah, white beans are huge. Just like you when you do brownies, for
I was gonna
example,
say
you want to make
black
a
bean
holiday brownie,
brownies.
black
Mm-hmm.
bean brownies. And the
Which
good
are
thing with that
really
is like
good.
really good. You can cut in, do half zucchini, half black beans, whip it up, and then add some sugar in there, and you'll never. It's so delicious.
Sugar,
You won't
yeah,
be able
sugar
to
is
tell.
nice and disguising. Just
Yes,
like the
exactly.
avocado puddings or avocado mousse. Like
Mousse.
Grindhouse in Buffalo
Right.
does a really good
hmm
chocolate
Right.
mousse with avocado. So good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a good way for the holidays to make yourself feel a little bit better is just try to
Right.
disguise in a few good things, and
There's
then
some things
you'll
in
be
there.
like, oh,
Yeah,
there's flaxseed
whatever.
in here, so it's okay.
It's fine.
But the main thing is to have fun with it, especially if you're
Right.
making it. You know, know that I used to be really intense and be like it has to be a whole food plant based cake,
Yeah.
and you can kind of ease up on yourself with the health side for Thanksgiving for that day.
Right.
But yeah, thanks
Live
for
your
asking the
life.
question, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. And we'll post,
Thank
I'll try to see,
you.
like, when I go
Yeah, we'll
through
post
this and
one.
everything, I want to post some recipes and stuff from other blogs and maybe from Sharon, just like of our favorites. So it's easy to have. Um, I guess one thing, and we're running a little bit low on time, but one thing I really wanted to talk about was tips for people. So people who might just be plant-based for the first time. I know we talked to people who weren't plant-based and how they could help their families. But people who might be going into it a little bit scared, not really
Hmm.
knowing how to do it, and I think the climate for it is a little bit better now. It's
Right.
definitely way more well known than like when we first went vegan, or even vegetarian. But I think, yeah, like what are your top tips for dealing? Like it's hard enough around the dinner table on Thanksgiving with family.
Right.
Politics are being thrown around, especially this year. Lots of stuff going on. It's
Hmm.
hard enough with that, and then on top of that, put food on the table, literally. Um,
Right.
it's hard. So, what are your
Yeah.
top tips for like dealing
You
with, some
vegans.
people, yeah, some people have families that, some trolls, if you will, some
Some
cousins that
family
are,
troll.
yeah, my cousin used to send me videos of chickens getting their heads blown off.
Oh,
I
I
was
hate when people
like,
do that. Oh,
just,
it's
he was
so
just
hard.
trolling me, but it's like, at the time, took it super personally. So, and it is kind of personal. It's a dick move, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, what are your top tips?
I would say if it's your first Thanksgiving as plant-based, hopefully, maybe you have somebody that will also be, so there'll at least be two of you, so you guys can kind
Right.
of feel a little comfort. But if it's not, and you're the only plant-based eater at your family Thanksgiving, I would say one, do your best to just maybe bring some things for yourself, so you don't feel like you're not going to be eating when everybody else is eating, or
Hmm.
like when the desserts come out, you're not going to have to ask everybody, oh, is that vegan? Just assume
Hmm.
most likely they're not, and just bring some things for yourself. So, your favorite dessert, bring it. I would say bring vegan butter with you because there's always going to be
Yeah.
bread. So you can just like,
Yeah.
you'll be like me when you just pull out a thing of vegan butter out of your purse and you're just, spread it
It
on your
really
bread.
is the creamer, Sharon, the creamer. Sharon
You can bring your own
literally. brings around vegan dairy-free creamer in her purse all the time.
Everywhere I go.
Just
Yeah,
in
it's
case.
actually actually my boyfriend just bought me like a vegan flask or a flask that I put vegan creamer in. So when I go out at restaurants, it looks like I have a little thing of alcohol, but
Like it's
it's
rum.
yeah, it's actually oat milk creamer, and I'm like into my coffees. No, I would say bring anything for yourself, just so you feel like, just in case you have food for yourself. Vegan butter is huge. A plant-based creamer, and don't feel ashamed to bring your own food. Like, it's not weird. It's it's your body, it's your decision. What you put in your body is absolutely your right. So it's your prerogative to be equipped. So bring food for yourself. And then also, if you are not quite, you're newly vegan and Thanksgiving, if you don't want to talk about it, don't feel pressured to. I know that I felt like I had to talk about it, and I had to like really state my case, and really like make it known. Like, these are the exact reasons why I'm vegan.
You have to be the advocate for it. That's what it feels like.
Right. Just know that that's not really the case. It's really your decision, and just say, "Oh, because it feels good for me." You don't have to make the dinner conversation about being vegan. And I found that from years of experience, that's kind of what it turned into. And it wasn't the greatest conversation because, it can alienate people. Like, food can alienate. And so what I'm really working on is trying to not talk about the food as much. And so just know that, it's your decision. Prepare yourself so you can eat what you want, and just know that, at the end of the day, only you can decide what you put in your body. And you don't have to justify it to anybody else. And if somebody truly is interested, and they want to know why, then be honest and have that conversation and say why you're plant-based. But yeah, just be true to yourself, and bring your creamer flask. Jamie, what are tips that you would tell people?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what you just said, I mean, all of what you just said, really. And being prepared for those questions too, because they will probably come. There's always the ones that people ask, where do you get your protein? Like, how do you do it? I could never. And just being, like you said, if you don't want to talk about it later, maybe you can say a good response is, I'd love to maybe send you some information at another time, but I really don't want to talk about that right now. I mean, that goes into talking about boundaries, which is already hard enough to do. So, but set those boundaries for yourself if you need to. If it's something that you feel like you don't want to talk about, or you don't want to get into, and it's going to be stressful for you, then don't get into it. And just ask that the person respect you. And hopefully they should, right? And then if they don't, hopefully there's somebody who will back you up. Yeah. So being able to bring up your boundaries, maybe say you want to talk about it later. My mom gave me a really good hint once. She goes, Jamie, sometimes, because I feel like you're really passionate into it, right? Like, you're super passionate into it, and you want to like tell them everything. And sometimes I word vomit over everything, of like all the reasons, and go into everything, and it overwhelms people and they shut down. So my mom was like, Jamie, just, if they ask a question, you can go ahead and directly answer that question, and then stop. And if they ask more, then you give more. It's just like, instead of dumping everything, make it a conversation. And that's really hard to do when you're super passionate about something, and when you know all these details already, and you know all of the rebuttals that you're going to have. It's hard not to say it all at once.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty. A super, passionate vegan advocate. Anywhere I go, I always have my deck of cards ready to just spew.
Just throw up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But, like, which point do you want to bring up? I have the rebuttal right here.
And it's so funny because as soon as someone says, why are you vegan? I'm like, oh, are we talking about health? Are we talking about environment?
Which essay would you like?
Right. And I think that's one of the things is like, people ask. Sometimes they just ask just as a conversation, but they don't really want to dive into it.
They don't want to dive in.
Right. And really knowing when the time and place is, because I would say this is something I'm newly learning. I've been vegan for years, so I just stopped word vomiting, and I still kind of do it. So it definitely is, that's a good tip. Is really knowing, setting your boundaries and saying, I don't want to talk about it now. But,
and if you have a partner, with you, or even a partner or a trusted person that really cares about you, they should kind of, be able to stand with you, and you can say to them, like, I really need you to kind of be my rock here. I don't need you to believe what I believe. I don't need you to, you know, defend me. I mean, in a way of like throwing up all these words and getting in fights with people. It's just nice to have someone there who can, you know, hold your hand if people start laughing, or, you know, just standing in solidarity with you. It helps. I recommend the book Beyond Beliefs by Melanie Joy.
It's a good one.
I love her so much. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm in it, and it's all about relationships, like being vegan and having relationships with people and how to manage those things. And she talks about exactly that situation. But yeah, so I want to sum it up pretty soon because I know we're coming up onto an hour, and I think we get kicked off. So I don't want to get this is our first live. But yeah, when this gets posted, probably either the Thanksgiving Day or the day before Thanksgiving, I'll make sure to have some yummy recipes in there and any other kind of show notes in there as well. But yeah, this was really nice.
Yeah,
I'm hungry. I'm gonna go make dinner.
Thanks so much for being on and for chatting, James. I know that we could talk about this for a long time, but anybody that's tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. And we hope that, you know, Thanksgiving is, whether you're plant-based or not, we hope that it's full of yummy, delicious plants, whichever form they come in for you. And know that just the whole Food Nerd team here wishes you a happy Thanksgiving. And that, you know, if you guys need any type of support, you can always reach out to us for awesome recipes or any type of tips and tricks that you guys need to arm yourselves to be a vegan during the holiday season.
Or a venting ear. If you need someone just to like...
Call Jamie.
Right. Call me. You can go ahead. My message inbox is open. Just like rant. Okay. If you need someone just to like get it all out, you don't want to take it out on the dinner table, take it out on my inbox. You're good. It's all good.
Awesome. And so happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And thanks so much for joining us of another Raw Conversations, which was live on Instagram for the first time.
Yay.
Yay. And if you share our mission for food truth, please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe, and visit foodnerdinc.com for more Thanksgiving tips and tricks and for more information on being plant-based. Until next time, nerd on, and happy Thanksgiving. Thanks, Jamie.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks, Sharon. Good to see you.